Picture this, it's 1983 in Birmingham, England. Deep within a secure depot owned by Johnson Matthey bankers, a fortune lies waiting. We're talking about £26 million worth of gold, platinum, and silver bullion. That's over £100 million in today's money. It's supposed to be one of the safest places in the country. But on a cold November morning, that illusion of security would be shattered in one of the most audacious heists in British history. What happened to all that gold? And why does this story still baffle investigators decades later? The plan was surprisingly simple, relying on inside knowledge and sheer audacity. The masterminds knew the security protocols of the Johnson Matthey depot inside and out. They knew the guards' routines, the layout of the building, and crucially, they knew how to bypass the high-tech security systems of the time. The gang wasn't a large, sophisticated syndicate. It was a small, tight-knit group of criminals from South London, led by two notorious figures, Brian Robinson and Mickey McAvoy. They were career criminals, but this was a whole new level. Their inside man was a security guard named Anthony Black. Black was the key that would unlock the vault. He was related to Brian Robinson's partner and was persuaded to help. On the morning of November 26, 1983, as the guards started their shift, the gang struck. They gained entry to the depot, likely with Black's assistance, and quickly subdued the other guards. There was no Hollywood-style shootout or dramatic chase. It was quiet, methodical, and terrifyingly efficient. Once inside, they doused the guards in petrol. This wasn't just a threat, it was a brutal psychological tactic. They warned the guards that if they didn't cooperate, they'd be set alight. Faced with such a terrifying prospect, the guards gave them everything they needed. The gang forced them to reveal the combination codes for the vaults. One by one, the heavy steel doors swung open, revealing a breathtaking sight. Stacks upon stacks of gold bars, platinum, and diamonds. The scale of the loot was almost overwhelming. They had planned to steal cash, but what they found was far more valuable and far more difficult to handle. They had stumbled upon the jackpot. The gang spent hours loading the bullion into their getaway van. We're talking about 3 tons of gold minus 6,800 bars in total. Imagine trying to move that much weight quickly and quietly. The van would have been groaning under the strain. By the time they drove away, leaving the terrified guards tied up, they had committed the biggest gold robbery the world had ever seen. The alarm wasn't raised for some time, giving them a crucial head start. The police were baffled. The crime was nicknamed the Birmingham Robbery because the depot was in a trading estate near Heathrow Airport. The investigation was massive, involving Scotland Yard's flying squad. The first major breakthrough came from the inside man, Anthony Black. He was quickly identified and arrested. Under pressure, he confessed his role and named some of the key players, including McAvoy and Robinson. Mickey McAvoy was a flamboyant character. After the heist, he couldn't resist showing off his newfound wealth. He bought a large estate in Kent and was even said to have bought 2 Rottweilers, which he named Brinks and Matt. This kind of arrogance made him a prime target for the police. Brian Robinson was more discreet, but the net was closing in on both of them. Within a year, both McAvoy and Robinson were arrested, tried, and sentenced to 25 years in prison. Anthony Black received a 6-year sentence for his role. But here's where the story takes a dark and complicated turn. Arresting the robbers was one thing, but recovering the gold was another. 3 tons of pure gold isn't something you can just spend. It has to be melted down, disguised, and slowly fed back into the legitimate market. This requires a completely different set of skills and connections. The robbers had the brawn, but they needed brains to launder the proceeds. This is where another infamous figure enters the story: Kenneth Noye. Noye was a clever and ruthless criminal who specialized in this kind of thing. He was the man who could make gold disappear. The police suspected Noye was melting down the Birmingham gold in a smelter in his garden shed and mixing it with copper coins to disguise its purity and origin. From there, it could be sold back to the market, even, ironically, back to legitimate dealers like Johnson Matthey. The police were watching Noy closely. In 1985, an undercover officer, Detective Constable John Fordham, was conducting surveillance on Noy's property. In a tragic confrontation, Noy stabbed and killed D.C. Fordham in his garden. In the subsequent trial, Noy claimed he acted in self-defense, fearing for his life, and was shockingly acquitted of murder. The public was outraged. However, the law eventually caught up with him. While investigating the murder, police found 11 gold bars from the Brinksmat heist hidden on his property. But even with the main players behind bars, the story was far from over. The gold had been scattered to the four winds, laundered through a complex web of front companies, offshore accounts, and shady dealings that stretched from London to Spain. A significant portion of the gold was never, ever recovered. It's estimated that more than half of it, worth tens of millions of pounds, simply vanished. This missing gold has become the stuff of legend. It's often said that if you bought any gold jewelry in the UK after 1983, you're likely wearing a piece of the Brinksmat loot. The gold was so effectively laundered that it became part of the legitimate global supply chain. It funded a huge property boom in the London Docklands and is rumored to have financed major criminal enterprises for years to come. The story also has a chilling postscript known as the Curse of Brinksmat. Over the next 2 decades, around 20 people connected to the robbery, the laundering, or the investigation met violent ends. These were not accidents. They were targeted killings, believed to be part of a bloody fallout among the criminals who handled the gold. Arguments over shares, fears of informants, and brutal score settling led to a trail of bodies. It seemed that touching the Brinksmat gold brought nothing but death and misery. One of the most notorious victims was a financial expert named John Palmer, nicknamed Goldfinger. He was suspected of being a key figure in melting down and selling the gold. For years, he evaded justice, living a life of luxury in Tenerife. But in 2015, he was shot and killed at his home in Essex. The murder remains unsolved, but it's widely believed to be connected to the Brinksmat curse. So, what are the lasting legacies of this incredible crime? First, it completely revolutionized the security industry. The ease with which the gang bypassed the depot's defenses was a massive wake-up call. Modern vaults and security transport systems are light years ahead of what existed in 1983, partly thanks to the lessons learned from Brinksmat. Second, it exposed the intricate links between violent crime and white-collar finance. The robbery showed how dirty money could be cleaned and absorbed into the legitimate economy on a massive scale. This led to new laws and international efforts to combat money laundering. And finally, it left us with one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. Where did all that gold go? Is it sitting in a forgotten vault? Was it all melted down and sold? Is it funding criminal empires to this day? The truth is, we'll probably never know for sure. The gold has been absorbed, its origins erased, a ghost in the financial machine. The Brinksmat robbery wasn't just a heist, it was an event that changed the criminal underworld and the world of finance forever. It's a story of greed, violence, and a fortune that seemed to carry a deadly curse, a fortune that, for the most part, simply vanished into thin air. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into history's biggest mysteries. And let me know in the comments what you think happened to the missing gold. See you next time.